Hey guys, Marty here. Today I just want to give you all some tips on how to trade and things I've learned over years of playing Path of Exile that have really improved my trading experience. The trading experience in PoE is one of the most complained about things in the game, and it is annoying at times, but if you know a few basic things, you can really improve your experience. But before I get into that, I just wanted to let you all know that my Twitch account is not banned. I name changed to twitch.tv/Marty. The name was available, so I figured I'd go grab that. And I'm really happy with the change. So before I get into this, I'm just going to assume that you're familiar with Path of Exile trade or pathofexile.com/trade and PoE trade. And the typical way that someone would look for maps in PoE is they would go here and they'd search for Glacier map if they want to buy Glacier, and then they'd message this first person and so on and so forth. And they would do that individually for every single map that they want to buy. Especially new players fall into this a lot. But I want to show you guys POE Ninja actually has an extremely useful tool if you want to buy maps, especially for completion. I really recommend this tool. So here's an example of what you can do. Just to go back here. So I went to POE Ninja, you click on the maps thing, you click on bulk buy, and then you can sort by which tier you're looking at. So for example, let's say I just got into maps and I want to buy one of every tier 3 map. So I highlight all these maps like this. And especially early in a league, you're not always going to find sellers that have all of them, but you can kind of pick and choose one or two, remove a couple, and look for someone that has the majority of the maps and just buy all the rest individually. So let's say Pier wasn't available, I could remove Pier and Pen and then find sellers that have those maps. And you can do this, so I can see here that there's a lot of people that have all of these maps for sale. And in doing this, you're going to make the seller much more likely to respond to your messages. They're still going to ignore you sometimes, and there's not really all that much you can do about that. But if you don't like their pricing, then you can select a single, or select a few from this seller, select a few from another seller. So just as a test right now, let's see this Barbusoy guy. He has all of these maps listed. So then you select the maps that you want. If you don't want to pay, say he had Ashen Wood for 10 chaos, you just don't select that, and then you would go buy that one individually. But so then you copy this message from Barbusoy, which is super conveniently laid out for him as a seller too, because it sorts all of these maps in alphabet or in the order that they appear in the tabs. So if he wants to sell these maps, then all he has to do is go to the tab, withdraw one from each. It makes it so convenient as a seller and for you as a buyer, because now I've just accomplished 10 trades in one, where I would normally have to go to each of those maps individually and buy those. So then we can just go to the message. So it's 1 chisel, 9 alchemy, grab that real quick. And you see he says sack. I can assume he's in a map. So this is another thing that you can do. So he says sack. And if he doesn't say sack or he doesn't reply, you can still do this. So if we who is him, he's in a burial chamber right now. So you can basically assume that he's going to reply after he finishes his map or whatever. And not everyone's always going to do that. But, it's at least nice to know this as a base. And then from there, you can scroll. There's tons of people that have these maps, right? It's okay to pay more per map and get your map faster. That's one thing that a lot of newer players mess up, is your time in this game is kind of money. So at the end of the day, it's usually better to spend more per map, but then you get to get into the map. Odds are you're going to make 2-3 chaos per map at least, especially with Legion. So, you can save yourself a lot of effort by buying the maps immediately, paying a little bit more. It's gonna make it so much easier on you. Then another feature that I want to show you is if you're looking to buy bulk of a single map, like let's say that I want to farm, let's just say Leyline. So if I want to farm Leyline because it's a nice open layout, there's not really any cards there I'm aware of. You can go to POE Trade or pathofexile.com/trade and go to this section in the currencies, open the maps, and then I can say that I want someone who has a minimum stock of 10. So when I do that, it's only going to show me people that have 10 or more ley lines. And when I look at this, I can see that this guy has 20 ley lines to 10 chaos. Odds of him replying are much lower than if I message someone who has 1 to 1 chaos, and so on and so forth. So that's something to always keep in mind when you're doing these bulk trades. You always want to try and prioritize the people who are pricing their maps a little bit higher, because usually those people are just more inclined to trade. I would be very surprised if Ignelli replies to my trade. He's in his hideout right now, so maybe he sees my message, maybe he doesn't. Barbusoy still hasn't replied to the original message, but because he said sack, odds are he just forgot about the trade or whatever, so you can just hit him with a hey, almost ready. And if he doesn't reply to that, then I can go back to my message here and I can find somebody else, just go down the list. It's okay to go through a few people, but then you're saving yourself a lot of time with that. So he wants me to invite him. So, invite Barbusoy. And then we go to his hideout. So I've been using this particular trading method. I used to have my Elder blob up in Burial Chambers area because I was doing Elder Burials. So what I would do is I would go to that website and I would, oh, this is really awkward. I shouldn't have messaged two people at once. Invite after, no. I'm just going to buy the other guy's maps because I don't want to waste his time. So just as another note for you guys, if someone does want to sell to you the maps or whatever, it's nice to be polite in both directions. This is a little bit awkward that this is happening in a video, right? But this situation comes up all the time, so it's good to know. So what you do, you get the trade going, and then you accept the invite from the other guy. So now I'm in the party with the other guy. He knows that I'm still interested in his maps. That guy knows that I'm still buying his maps because I'm already in the trade stream with him, and then you don't have to worry quite as much. It's also important to note that if you're buying maps, the people who sell maps, especially red maps, they get so many whispers that you have to be a little bit patient with them. If someone doesn't reply to you, they might just be getting too many trades at that moment. They might be in the middle of finishing a map or whatever and value that map above your trade. So it's okay to message multiple people. But when you're doing this bulk buying method, generally you won't have to message multiple people. We can see I literally only messaged these two people and I already got all the maps that I'm buying off of them. And this isn't a RNG situation. That's just the benefit of buying a ton of maps at once. People are going to be much more likely to reply to you, and the same goes for paying extra per map. So there we go, got all of the T3s in one trade. T4T. Then you can go run all those maps and then, message the next guy for all the T4s and so on and so forth. And doing this, you're going to save yourself so much time, so much hassle in trading. It's really important to just be open to doing trades like that, basically. Another thing I wanted to talk about is if we go back here to, let's say you want to buy a singular map. So let's say I want to buy an Ashenwood map. If we look, we can see the top people posted yesterday for one alchemy or posted 3 weeks ago for one alchemy. So this guy that's had his map listed for 3 weeks, the odds of him replying are very, very low. So generally just avoid messaging those people in general. And what you can do is you can put up a live search like I did there. Just open up the search in a live mode, and someone who literally just listed the map, so it shows up in the live search, you might have to wait a minute or 5 to get it to show up. But if you have like 5 of these running at once, you just message someone as soon as they list it, and they're much more likely to trade because they are listing their map, which shows the intent to sell. Whereas that guy who's had that map listed for 3 weeks, the odds that he cares to sell that map are very low. Chances are he cared to sell it 3 weeks ago, but now he's advanced his character, advanced his stash, and he just doesn't care as much anymore. Another thing to pay attention to is that if you just want to get your maps fast, let's say you're trying to get your completion, what you can do is at the bottom here, you can set the minimum buyout that they have listed. And you can say 1 chaos or 2 chaos. It's okay to pay that much for a tier 3 map even, because you know you're going to make that money back in the long term by saving yourself the time getting through the tiers. So if we go to 2 chaos buyouts on these Ashenwoods and then we follow that same rule, people who have them listed for 2-3 weeks are much less likely to reply. So then you look for someone who's had it listed for 2-3 days, and you're going to be much more likely to find someone who's willing to reply to you. Another thing you can do here, you can set it to corrupted no, because we can see a few of these people have corrupted maps, and we can say shaped no, and that'll filter out all those. Okay, that's not supposed to happen. The shaped map is not supposed to show up if you have shaped no, but that's fine. There's not going to be any more corrupted maps in here. If we scroll down, not a single of these maps is corrupted, and that filters out that for you. Or you could, if you're doing red maps, another really useful thing to do is to set the corrupted to yes. And then when you do this search, you're only going to get corrupted maps. So then you don't have to spend the time rolling your map and voling it. Someone might already have the mods that you can run, volled, and listed for sale. And if you're doing that, it's important usually to message the person beforehand when you're buying the map. Another thing that this is just a bit of a trade etiquette thing. Someone who's selling bulk maps, odds are they're not going to pay attention to the quality of the map that you're buying. So if you wanted this 15 quality map, a better example, let's go to red maps here real quick. So if I go to Basilica and I get rid of this buyout, I get rid of the corrupted, and I go, I search. There's so many people who have these basilicas listed. These guys that are listing for the cheapest price, the 7 alchemies, the 5 chisels, they are not listing 5 chisels for specifically this 5 quality map. You can see all of his maps are listed at the same price. So when this guy trades you, do not expect to get the 5 quality map. You're just setting yourself up for failure. There's a chance that he might have already sold that map before he even gets to it. Odds are what he's going to do is he's going to go to his map tab here, and he's going to just grab the first basilica that comes up. So in this case, it's 13 quality. Sometimes you're going to have that happen. But if it happened to be this one, right, there's nothing wrong with him selling you that. That's not him trying to scam you. That's just that he is pricing at a generic basilica map at this amount. He's not pricing specifically a 10 quality map or specifically this unidentified rare map. So don't expect that. If you do want a specifically unidentified rare map, it's then important to tell the person in your message that you want the unidentified rare map for a challenge or whatever it may be. But odds are you're going to have to end up paying more for that. And you can save yourself time or whatever by not or by paying more, or you can try and get one for cheap, but it's just don't get offended, don't call them a scammer. They are just not selling that specific map. It's not even how they're looking at it. And then the same goes for if you go to the unidentified search, you're not going to see all of their other maps. Oh, this is where you can see that. So identified, you can select no, and then you can go rarity rare. And so if you were looking for a challenge where you have to do an unidentified tier 14, you can use those settings. But again, don't expect that to happen in the trade unless you are paying extra or you're telling the person beforehand, because they have a lot going on as a seller. And then so back to the Ashenwood live search, you can see tons of maps are popping up. You just message one of these people, chances are they're actually going to sell their map to you. The one other thing that I wanted to talk about in this video is a very, very common scam that I'm seeing a lot of people talking about. So if an item is priced significantly lower than other items, 9 times out of 10, it seems too good to be true, and it is too good to be true. So if we go to Queen of the Forest 6 links, this is a really common scam going on right now, is that people will list a 6 link for significantly cheaper and then scam you when you try and message them about it. So I don't know for sure that this guy is a scammer, but the fact that he's 1 exalt lower than everyone else, and these guys are, again, 1 exalt lower than these ones, that puts you on high alert to begin with. So anytime you're ever buying an item for below the listed price, that should immediately send you into high alert. And in the trade window, look very closely at the links, or if you're buying a Star Forge, a really popular scam is to switch the Star Forge out with a Void Forge. So again, when you're looking at these, right, you see they're pretty much all at 5 exalts, and then there's this one guy at 4 exalts. Not that he is a scammer, but there's always that chance. So if you're buying the cheapest item, always be paying extra attention in the stat or in the trade window that he doesn't swap it out for a Void Forge on you, or swap it out for a corrupted weapon or something like that. You always want to pay attention to that stuff. Some people just want to sell their items really fast so they underprice them, and that's totally okay. But just be on high alert. That's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you learned something. I apologize for the length. I intended to mention this at the beginning, but in the future for my videos, I recommend watching them on 1.5 speed or 2 speed because I tend to over elaborate and I tend to speak somewhat slowly at times. So that might help you enjoy the video a bit more. But thanks for watching, everyone. Remember, my Twitch channel has changed to twitch.tv/Marty. If you're still watching, check me out there. I'll be going live later today and tomorrow. And have a great night, everyone, or day. Bye.